Anyway, I am so pumped to be starting my new project. Let me share what I'm gonna do. Okay, so this is the buffet table sort of thing that we're using as an entrance table. We got it off the side of the road, someone had chucked it out, and I absolutely fell in love with how beautiful it was. But I want to paint it. I don't want to keep it the way it is, even though it's gorgeous, but still I want to accentuate its beauty. I want to strip off the wood part. I'm going to sand it down and then paint the rest. That's the plan. Let's see how I go about doing it. It shouldn't be a very big project, but then I know myself. Sometimes I'm motivated and I go like, and sometimes when I don't feel like it, it would take ages. So let's see. So remove the drawers, but our shoes are inside and I don't plan on removing them. They can stay in there. But what I will do is I'll give it all a good clean. I'm not going to remove the doors. I'm just going to remove the hardware and spray paint it separately. But yeah, the first thing that I'm going to do is just clean this up really properly, because if there is dust, the paint won't stick. Okay, so I've given a basic wipe to the table and I've removed the hardware and the drawers. Now I am going to sand it out, and this is the sander that I am using, and this is the sandpaper actually, and I'll show you the difference. I start with an 80 grit sandpaper. I should have started with 60, but I don't have a 60, I just have an 80. So the 80, if you can tell, is really coarse. It gets rid of all the paint finish. Once I remove the paint, then I will go finer with my sandpaper. I will then use a 120 grit. That's a 120, and it's still coarse but not as coarse at 80. And then finally I'll finish it up with the 240 grit, which is extremely fine, and you use that to just make sure that the wood is extremely smooth. I am going through this trouble because I want the top bare. I want the naked look of the wood. The parts where I am going to paint, I am just going to use an 80 grit sandpaper and just roughen it up a bit. You roughen up the edges so that the paint can stick onto a surface. So let me just show you as I go. It'll be easier to explain as I go. Okay, so I am done with the first layer. This is when I used the 80 grit sandpaper. It has stripped off the paint and all these blotches and stuff. When I go with the second one, which is 120, that would smooth it out. But look at the state of my entrance. Shit. And my clothes as well, which is why I changed my shirt. This was going to be a messy job, but I could not take this thing outside. A, it's really heavy. B, it's cold outside. I don't want to work in the cold. So I'm just gonna clean this up before I go in with the second part. Okay, so we've had dinner, I've showered, I've changed into my pajamas, and what a normal person would be doing right now would be putting their feet up and chilling in bed. That is exactly what I intended to do. But then, I'm not normal. I'm hooked. I really want to get all the sanding done today so that after work tomorrow I can start the painting, which really excites me. So now I'm gonna sand the bottom part of the table. This wouldn't be as crazy as the top part. And I'll use this sanding block to sand this. I got this from my local hardware store. I'm pretty sure it would be easily available everywhere. So this is the sanding block thingy. And then this is the paper. I'll just sandpaper. I'll put this on top and then I'll just sand it. So now, because I have already changed, you'll have to excuse my cute kitty pajamas because I'm going to be working in them. And then these are the declarations of love from Alia that she has left everywhere, even on our bedroom door. This is where we left off yesterday. Last night I sanded the table that I want to paint as well. I still haven't taken this one off. I need to get a screwdriver from outside. But as you can see, I sanded it to roughen it up a bit and remove some of the shine from the table. And now this is at this stage and I can prime it. So think of sanding as exfoliation. Basically, people who do makeup would understand that exfoliation is extremely important for having a flawless makeup. You need to get rid of all the loose debris, anything that's chipped off the furniture. So you sand it to make sure that it is perfectly smooth. Then the next step is the primer. Primer is, as it is the same in makeup, that you need a base for your makeup to sit on. Similarly, you need a base for your paint to sit on. This table is a dark brown. I want to paint it a lighter color, so I'm going to be using a primer or a stain blocker, which would make sure that the color that I am using on top shines in its full glory. That's all I can say, I guess. And then this brown doesn't peek through. So that's the step for today. This is the primer that I am using. I know it does not look good at the moment because I've used it a lot, but this is the Zinsser Bin Primer Undercoat Sealer Stain Blocker. I absolutely love it, and I'm so glad that I bought a huge ass can of it because I've been using it on quite a few projects. Always read up what they can be used for, and I always like to read at the back for all instructions. This is the one I'll use. Okay, so I am done with the first coat of primer. It always looks horrible before it starts to look better. This is what it looks like at the moment. I am going to go outside now and sand the drawers. I'm trying to make these stories and videos as informative as possible so that because see, honestly, I get messages from people sending me pictures of their furniture saying, how do I paint this, how do I do that, which color should I go for. Now please remember, if I don't reply to it, it's not that I'm being rude, it's just that giving the design advice takes time and I don't have time. I really prioritize my things. So I try to share as much as I can on stories. I will try to save them as well so that you can come back and put in an effort to go through them to find what you're looking for. Because I can't spoon feed you, I can't give you a direct answer. If you do not have the time to go through the stories and search for things, I don't have the time. You're not the only person who's reaching out to me. I get over 200 messages a day. 50 of those are asking, how do I paint this or how do I paint that? My job is to be as helpful as I can, and it's not even a job. I enjoy helping people. I have learned through mistakes. I learn from other people, and it pleases me that I am able to help someone in some way. So I will be there to help, but I can't help people who can't help themselves. It's just a pet peeve of mine when someone just expects me to hand them things on a platter. I want people to be able to put in the effort. Coming to the paintbrush, as you can see, all my paint brushes are drying over here. This is the one I'm using. I really like this one. It's by Monarch. I'm going to use this. So usually I wash it out and I can reuse it. That's the sign of a good paintbrush. If I get a cheapie, something like this, even though I wash it out, it doesn't wash very well, I'll still reuse it because I am the poor sophisticate. But I've learned this. I used to buy cheap brushes and that works for me as well. I still do buy cheap brushes. It's not that I don't, but if I buy a cheap brush, I know that I cannot reuse it a lot of times. Like this one, this wasn't very expensive, but as you can see, the paint did not come off it. And I use water-based paint. Water-based paint is easier to wash off. I don't need anything. All I do is once I'm done thing. I don't let my paintbrush dry. I bring it to the kitchen sink and I rinse it out as much as I possibly can. This is why I didn't do the color coat yesterday, because I wanted to dry this paintbrush. And as you can see, I washed it just with water and it's fine. On the other hand, I tried, but I don't think you can rewash and reuse foam rollers. They have to be disposable. What you can do to elongate their life is wrap them up in a cling wrap or in a plastic bag and put them in a fridge, but that's the extent of it. I don't think you can wash and reuse them. And they're not that expensive anyway. It's $2 or $3 each. So, yeah. Now I am going to seal the tabletop. This is what it looks like. I don't want to stain it. I like this thing going on. And I also know that it will get a little bit darker because when I stain it, and I do need to stain it to protect it, otherwise I'll just ruin it. This is the sealant I am using. It's by Made by Paint. It's in the satin finish. I absolutely love this. I have a little bit left, so let's just make the most of it.